Hey everyone, so my most viewed video thus far has been the Tasmanian Devil video, the euronymph that I tied, so I figured I would do another nymph. So especially in the summertime, I like to use a lot of like natural colors, and this is basically my take on a hare's ear blowtorch, but I've had really good success with this nymph. So let's get started. So first I'm using UTC 70 yellow olive, any color that's gonna hide your thread in the dubbing or the collar is gonna be great, so don't get too hung up on the yellow olive. So first thing I'm gonna do, start right behind the bead, and I'm gonna put a thread base down to just where it starts to bend. Now for a tail on this, I like to use a tag, and it's hard to find glow bright where I am, so I've been using uni floss, and this is the light orange uni floss. It works great. So this is a size 14. On a 14 and a 12, I'm just going to double the floss over for when I tie it in. So pinch maybe a half inch or so, pinch it on the back there, and I like to just make sure it stays on top. And I'm going to wrap this right back to behind the bead and right up tight to the bead. Here I trim the floss, and then the tag kind of sucks itself into the bead itself. Now this particular fly has two ribs, so the first thing I'm going to tie in is just 6x mono tippet, and I'm going to tie that on the far side. So I put the end of it in the bead, loosely catch it, and then I wrap it down, trying to keep it on the far side of the body. And then the next rib is some sulky, and this is 8040. I think it's just pearl. It's a sliver metallic, but I do believe this is the pearl color. And I like to use sulky. It looks a lot like flashaboo. It's very thin, pearlescent material, but it's much tougher. So the sulky I'm going to tie on the near side of the hook. And then I'll bring my thread back down to the back. Okay, so the first dubbing I like to use is from Wapsi. It's just natural fur, and this is olive. And I like this because the olive has like different colors of fiber in it, so it's not just like a muted green. It's got like orange and some yellows and blacks as well. So I take a small pinch, and I'm gonna very lightly dub this body. I like a nice thin body. I don't like to get too carried away, and you can always add more, but once you have a fat fluffy body, it's hard to deal with. So I like a nice tight dubbing noodle, not a lot of material on it. And so I start at the back, and then can bulk up a little bit as we head to the front. But again, thin and tight, and it's going to sink better than a fat loose body. Okay, that's it for that dubbing. So now the two ribs. First, I'm going to counter rib with the sulky. So I'm going backwards with the sulky. attach that in the front. And now the 6X tippet, I'm going to wrap the same direction as my thread. So this helps protect the body as well as protect that sulky that is like tough flashaboo, but it's still not the same as wire or tippet. Okay, at this point I like to trim my tag tail, and I go roughly to the back of the hook, not too long. I like to keep it fairly short. Okay, and the next step is going to be a CDC collar. So my collars, usually I'll use CDC. I like how they look in the water, and the bugginess versus like a squirrel collar, but squirrel works as well, so don't get hung up on CDC. So I'm going to flatten and split my thread. And I have like a small clip's worth of CDC. It's about a medium-sized feather, maybe one side of it. And just going to wrap and as I'm wrapping I'm pulling all the fibers back, so this is a little long, right? You can see it going past, but a good trick for that is going to pinch them the length that I want them, which is roughly the same as the back of the tag, and you just pinch the fibers off to shorten it. Never cut it. You don't want to pull them back and chop them with scissors. You get a really crappy flat fly. This way you maintain a taper, and when this is wet, it's going to make a nice teardrop nymph shape. Okay, and the last collar I like to put on is just peacock icedub. I like this even on like natural color, tan color hare's ears. I still like the peacock. The green kind of sparkles real good. So you don't want to overdo it with this stuff. You don't want to spend the time making a nice thin nymph. I don't want to put a crazy collar on it. So I've got maybe 5 fibers. And I make, I don't know if you can see that on the camera, like a nice tight noodle. And that's like at most 3 turns. And that is all you need. And now I don't like to mess much with whip finishes on the nymphs either, so before I whip finish, I'm just going to put a touch of super glue on my thread. One, 2, 3 is plenty. Super glue is going to hold everything together. Cut it close, and that's it. There you go. Hare's ear blowtorch. This is a size 14 450 BL hook. I love the 450 BL, the wide gap. And this happens to be an olive tungsten bead, 3.5 mil. But I do these with gold and copper beads all the time. So thanks for watching. I'm going to continue with the nymphs. I think I'll do 3 or 4 more, especially coming up to summer here in Canada anyway. We do a lot more of our nymphing with bugs. So hope you keep watching. Thank you.